So now the question is, how do you change a dominant logic? And this is where we get into the coffee. Because the dominant logic manifests as a routine, or what we call a practice. And so the refrain here is, you want to change culture, you got to change practices. What do we mean by practice? A practice is a routine or a process by which you run your business. And not just one, a set of business processes and routines which are structured by these logics. And so you want to get into changing the collective brain chemistry at scale. You need to start thinking about changing your business routines. Not the individual routines, it's about the collective routine. So here's what typically happens in organizations, that organizations spend a lot of time trying to change culture by trying to change the people. Put people through training programs, hire new people, get rid of the old people, give them new values, give them a competency model, and then create a performance management system that holds people accountable to the competency model. All those things are okay. They might work in isolation, but they are not culture change. People come and go all day long. Cultures stay the same. Why? Why, when you get rid of a bunch of people and you bring in new people, they, within 6 months, are acting like the old people? Why? Because the culture is pervasive. It's in the business practices. So the idea here is that the business practices are what hold the culture together. It's what holds the dominant logics. Because that's how the brain chemistry is entrained. It's when you believe that this is how we should run the business, when you believe that this is what good business looks like, when you believe that this is what good customer support looks like, and all your business processes are structured to support that end goal, that's your culture. It's not a training program. It's not a set of values. It's not even leaders walking the talk. The leadership matters because the leaders control business practices and can change business practices, and that's where leadership comes in. So, to wrap things up, what are some things that you can do right now as a transformation leader to deal with this kind of transformational adaptive change that involves culture and involves neuroscience? And how do you deal with the skepticism? The first thing to remember is that the stuff I'm talking about is hard. I mentioned to Patrick before I came up here that some of the stuff I'm going to say is probably controversial and a little bit paradoxical and perhaps contradictory to some of the things you've already heard today. And it's because the stuff I'm talking about is happening at the subconscious or preconscious level, and it's what keeps organizations doing what they do all day long. So one of the first things that you can do, which I didn't mention explicitly, but it's implied in everything I'm saying, is do your own work first. If you are serious about culture change, if you're serious about transforming your business or transforming a business, not just to implement new technology, but to fundamentally redefine what business you're in, you need to spend some time thinking about what are your dominant logics? What are your blind spots? Do you have the courage? Can you interrogate power? Are you going to be putting your career and job and perhaps reputation at risk? This is the kind of stuff it takes. Change leadership, great change leadership, is not for the faint of heart. So you got to do your own work. It's very possible. It's not only possible, very likely that you can do this, but you have to have some sense of what's in it for you as the leader. And are you willing to have some courage? Number 2, name the adaptive challenge. Naming and framing. Naming and framing. That's one of the most important things you can do as a change leader. To start to understand, what is it that we're doing here? Why are we changing? And what's the higher order bit here? It's not just about AI. AI is transformative, but right now, AI is just a tool. AI will fundamentally change the nature of expertise. That's the real thing about AI. It changes the nature of expertise. It's not just productivity, but you have to name and frame those challenges for your business. Number 3, obviously, identify the dominant logics. Very, very important. What is the thing that holds us in place? What keeps us in the status quo? What has worked for us in the past? Will it work for us in the future? What are those practices that keep us doing the same thing we've been doing for 20 years? And do we need to think about changing those practices? And number 4, I didn't mention this explicitly, but if you're reading between the lines, goes with it. It's very hard to do this kind of adaptive transformational change that involves collective brain chemistry alone. Depending on the organization, and many organizations, if you are the one that stands up and does this as a solo act, you will get shot. When you are interrogating the dominant logics of your business, and you're not the CEO, or even if you are the CEO, because you have a board to answer to, it's very likely that you will be shown the door quickly. What do you mean? We've always done it this way. What are you talking about? These are likely kinds of responses when you start to raise some of this stuff, bring it to the attention. So you need to build a coalition. We call this building a power block. Like-minded professionals who are interested in the same outcomes and willing to put a little bit of skin in the game, a little bit of personal credibility and personal risk to make this happen.